And so the news is that whites will become the minority in the near future. In fact, in America, it seems as if there'll be no majority of folks. Everybody's going to be under 50, but whites won't have that majority, whereas others are called minorities. Everybody would be minorities. Now, this is just recently I saw in the papers where, again, individuals are thinking in terms of not having kids. You know, white folks come up with a whole bunch of ways to train children and don't spank them and bribe them and all this kind of stuff. And you know, it's not working. So they're saying that what sense does it make to have kids and then have all these trials and all these tribulations in tow with having them? I recall long ago, white folks used to say something like, a lot of kids is not for us. I'm not going to be barefoot and pregnant and all this stuff, you know. So, and then of course folks start to postpone having kids. They think probably the years that they skip, they're added on down the road, but with menopause creeping in and sort of puberty also creeping this way, younger puberty and younger sort of younger menopause, it seems as if you know, it's a big problem, and having them too old now, and too old could be in the 30s and whatever, it's the next problem. But you trust white folks. White folks are clever and they have answers to everything. In fact, this does not necessarily mean that in the world minority is going to be more than the whites. Am I saying it correct? I mean, China and India and Africa, they have so many people that think more than Europe. But in America, what's going to happen is that they're going to bring in the Russians, they're going to bring in the Germans, the Irish, they're going to bring in everybody to keep that number up. Oh, by the way, all these I now see why these Mexicans are crossing over the border and coming into the States unopposed. Because Latinos have this privilege of calling themselves white. You go to any Latin country, Puerto Rico, anywhere, everybody's white. Even if I could have spoken Spanish and living in Latin America, I would be called white. Yep. So I guess that's going to be the new game. As long as the census show that whites number over 50, whether it's Mexican white or Puerto Rican white, you know, or black like me that speaks Spanish and say I'm white, it might matter. But it doesn't mean necessarily that white's going to lose the power, because they're going to find still ways to maintain the power. I mean, this is white people time. Everybody else ruled, everybody else had power. This is white people time, and my understanding of the future is that it's not going to change. No empire on the horizon is going to come in and be a new superpower. I mean, if you think that the return of Christ and his kingdom is a superpower, well, that's the only the only succession that's going to happen. And so the whites are clever. Latinos and Mexicans are going to call themselves whites. So with them increasing, with the dwindling of the Anglo-Saxon or the WASP, it's not going to make a difference, because the census will show that really and truly people call themselves white are in the majority, whether they're going to be black like me or in between. As long as they're Latino, they're going to say they're white, and that's it. I guess that's the answer to the whole problem.